So we're here with Chris Spiridon and Alex Sherman. Welcome to the Maltepes Show. New season, new episode, sponsored by Booked, the best new book out there, Amazon #1 bestseller, written by me and my father about my father's life story. A lot of people have gotten this book, bought this book. Pittsburgh Steelers coach Mike Tomlin has this book. Mike North, Chris Spiridon has this book.
That's
Alex,
right.
we all have this book. It's one of the best books. Really take a look. You can get it at Amazon. It's called Booked or phillybook.com. Also available on Barnes & Noble. So we're here, like I said, with Chris, Alex. How's your day going, guys?
Amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing day.
Well, that you can't beat that.
It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Can't beat it.
Can't.
Awesome.
Really can't.
How about you, Chris?
Bro, today, what did you say last time? Two legs, 2 feet, two arms.
Feet, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, and a head.
Yeah.
God bless.
Alhamdulillah, bro.
Alhamdulillah.
That's good.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
So, we're here going to talk about real estate today. With that being said,
The irony.
the irony. Let's first get this out of the way. Alex,
Yep.
if you want to explain this whole situation, when I first walked in, you first walked in, and what Chris said.
Yes. I own a property right across the street. We're neighbors.
I know, and we had
Pretty
no
crazy.
idea.
No.
Yet we've known each other for a little bit now. We're all friends, but we had no idea that like I own this building and Alex owns the building right across the street. Who would have known?
Yeah, it's funny. We literally were just like pulling up, and he's like, "Bro, I got like a 4-unit right
Yeah.
around the corner."
I was like, let's go park in the driveway real quick.
Crazy, right? Who would have known? So we're going to talk about real estate. You guys are both in the real estate field, correct?
Correct.
So we're going to start with Alex because Chris has been on the show. He's gotten a spotlight. Let's give it to
Yeah,
Alex a
yeah,
little
veteran.
bit.
Veteran.
Right?
Okay.
So Alex, you're in real estate. How so?
I do a little bit of everything in real estate. I am a developer, wholesaler, and realtor.
Oh, wow.
I say developer, investor, realtor. So we have a development company. We do flips, buy and holds throughout the city. We also have a wholesale realm on that side. So we buy houses and basically source houses to investors, and then licensed realtor as well.
So real quick, which of those is your favorite, number one? Which of those do you make the most money? And also, on top of that, which of those do you enjoy the most?
It's a good question. My favorite's definitely developer,
Developer.
100%. Realtor, least favorite.
Least favorite?
Do not like being
I was a real
realtor.
estate agent for a little bit.
Were you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Ah, yeah.
Okay.
Full of surprises.
Yeah, look at that.
Always. Well, listen, I have real estate. I figured it makes sense, real estate agent, but then I had so many different projects going on that I couldn't keep up.
Sure.
You know?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so favorite being a developer, I'd say most money, kind of depends. I mean, wholesale is more short-term gains. Obviously, development's more long-term. Kind of depends on the project. Sometimes it takes 12 to 14 months to see that money from the development side. For the holds, even longer sometimes. Wholesale, you can close a deal in 30 days and get that check right away. So it depends.
So which one's your favorite? Developing?
For sure, yeah.
Even though it takes the longest.
Yeah, yeah. I like the process. It's a
Yeah.
better, it's more
Journey.
of a journey. More of a journey. I like the development process, the design process, gain a deal, trying to figure out the best strategies of what to do with that deal, and then seeing the end product.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah.
So first of all, you've been on the podcast before, right?
Yeah,
Mr.
buddy.
Marine here.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for your service once again. But you're into real estate as well. So tell us about the real estate side of Chris that we didn't get to talk about in the last podcast.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we're friends, first and foremost. Like,
Yeah.
when I was in California and I was getting ready to move here, I was trying to already, like, try to have something lined up for when I touched down. And we had, like, this mutual connection. I won't say who, but...
We're not talking about that.
Keep it on the low, don't worry.
Yeah. And then, you know, one thing led to another. Being new here, you know, similar age and stuff, similar, like, kind of goals and ambition. And we ended up connecting through that. And then we've honestly been friends ever since. I think, like, you probably are, like, my first friend in the city.
For sure.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, right?
That is cool.
Before you were even here.
Before I was even here, yeah. I remember talking to him on the phone, trying to close on the deal that he was helping me with. Yeah.
But it was funny because I sent him this long email after we went on a contract because I really just wanted the end product to sell. Like I wasn't thinking.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of like this is gonna be a friendship or anything. I was like, this guy is new to the area. He probably needs help, but also he doesn't know any realtors. Can make some money from that.
Yeah.
And then
2 years
Crazy how it
later.
works.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Crazy how it works.
Yeah, but no. I mean, I'm not a like wholesaler the way he is. I've done one wholesale, which was cool, like pretty recently. That was pretty. Got a little taste of what that's like, and now we're I think trying to put some other things in motion for that. But primarily, for me at least, I'm not a real estate agent either. So he has some other skill sets that I don't necessarily have. I primarily focus on purchasing something that's probably like distressed, the basic spiel, under market value, add a little, equity through renovations, and then sell it. I don't necessarily hold. I know Alex likes that strategy depending on the deal, where he'll hold it for some time, like the one we talked about around the block, the 4-unit, that's a buy and hold, Section 8 rental and stuff like that. I don't really have portfolio like that. My approach is just a little different, and I think that's what I like most about real estate is everybody can do, whatever they're most comfortable with, and right now that's what's working for me. We're doing a couple deals together right now, actually. So I'm primarily in Newport though, so I'm not really doing anything in the city. My experience here was not great, but we were actually just talking. I'm like, hey, dude, like maybe let's try another deal out here. Just because I'm here, you know what I mean? It's nice to be able to go and check out some projects and be more involved.
It was a beautiful house.
Oh, dude, yeah.
It was a beautiful house.
Thing was dope.
Yeah.
What, one day on the market, 2 offers over asking or something like that? Like
way over asking. The price that I told you we were gonna get.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like 25K over that?
Yeah, 100%. And there was like 3 on that same street that were just sitting. So something went right, you know what I mean? Credit that to our designer, so.
For sure.
So, all right. So you guys met through real estate, right? And kind of that's, I think, how we kind of met, because didn't you meet one of our mutual friends at a real estate event?
That's so funny, yeah. Yeah, no,
I was at that event.
you, I think, were too, right?
Rami, right?
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was at that event.
Yeah.
You never know. That's how we all became friends. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy.
I didn't think about it like that, honestly.
It's Philly,
That is
man.
funny.
It's small.
I know. So now that we got the little introduction, I wanted to hear about the wholesale development real estate agent part. What's different between a wholesale and developing, and then also from a real estate mindset, like as an agent mindset, how do they differ, all those 3?
Yeah, I mean, they're all related in a lot of ways. Developers want to work with wholesalers.
Yeah.
Developers also work with realtors. So they kind of all tie into each other in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, you want someone to find a deal, So wholesalers, in my opinion, are the best people to find you that deal. I think realtors also can do that for sure. But their best attribute is to sell that end product. So how do they differ? I mean,
So much goes into it, it's like crazy. Like, where do you start, right?
yeah, I'm trying to think.
How about you, Chris? What do you think from your one wholesale deal?
How does it differ from developing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just 2 completely different approaches. Like, they're one, like you mentioned, is like in and out in 30 days or less. The other one, you're into it for anywhere from 6 to 15 months, depending on how elaborate the project is. So they're just 2 completely different animals.
There's a lot less risk with being a wholesaler in so many ways. Like, you're not dealing with the headaches. You're not dealing with choosing the subcontractors and choosing the right people for your jobs, keeping the job site clean, making sure everything's going as planned. Wholesale, you find a seller who wants to sell a property. You get that property under contract, you sell it to the investor, they close, and you're done. You're out.
So there's higher risk, you're saying, in wholesale?
No, not in wholesale.
In development.
In development, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
That's what I meant, in development. Is there a higher reward in development?
I think so, yeah.
Yes and no.
Yeah, yes,
I
and
mean,
no. You could hit some home runs, right?
For sure. There's some layups that you'll get from wholesale, which really only happens with consistency. But depends. It really depends on the deal.
Which one's the hardest to get into?
Development. You need more money. At the end of the day, it's how much money you have for
In
development.
capital in hand.
For sure. Wholesale, you can do that with
Liquid.
You could have $5 in your bank account and be a top wholesaler. And
Do it on your own.
Yeah, do it on your own. Yeah.
And a real estate agent doesn't take much. So we're going to go through a couple of things today. We're going to talk about some wholesaling. We're going to talk about developing, being a real estate agent, but we're also going to talk about some crazy stories, maybe horror stories. It is Halloween,
right?
It is Halloween, right? We're going to talk a little bit about interest rates. How do they affect the real estate market? How do they affect each segue, whether it's development or it's wholesaling or as a real estate agent, right? We'll talk about those things. And then I will also want to ask you guys, what do you guys see in the future when it comes to real estate? So first off, we're going to get into a crazy story. Name me one crazy story that you have, and then after Chris, we'll go with Alex.
Oh, shit.
Put you on the spot,
Yeah.
just a little bit.
You don't want to go first?
He's the podcaster.
He's the host,
He
right?
told you the rules.
Oh, shit.
Alex is damn. I got some extra time to think.
Crazy story. I mean, there are so many. I'm not sure which one to share, but there's just, I guess I'll say in my experience and just in the development world, there's so many, like you could do your best to try to mitigate that risk, but at the end of the day, there's always gonna be an unforeseen factor that you just did not plan for. And as you gain more experience, you eventually end up not having as many of those unforeseen things come up throughout a project. So when you first start off, it might happen more often, but as you continue to do more and more deals, hopefully, you're not doing that. You're not having that experience so much. But one, I don't know, silly example, I guess, horror story. Neighbors are a go-to thing. I know Alex can definitely relate when it comes
Alex looks like he has plenty of stories.
Neighbors are...
Can't share them quite yet, but
In time. Next podcast.
Yeah.
They're freaking savages. They always are looking to take advantage and figure out how they can weasel their way into some money somehow, some way. Like you could have done everything the right way, and one I wasn't dotted, and now you owe them freaking $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 just for like a silly thing that might have been overlooked. I know I experienced that personally in the project that I did here in Philly, just with like a fence dispute. Wow. And just to get her to cooperate and let me finish the deal, I just had to pay her out. Wow. And like I said, I know Alex, he's told me he's had some similar instances like that. So that could be a horror story. That's usually the fastest way out, though, instead of going through litigation or something that can be more time consuming.
More time, more money, maybe.
Yeah, and we could circle back to that point when it comes to lessons, because I was actually thinking about that earlier today. Is like, what are some huge lessons for people that are starting to get into real estate? Let me write this down real quick so we can come back to it. But yeah, over to you. Some horror stories.
Yeah.
Crazy story, horror story.
So many, man. So many. Even today. Today, my contractor's van got stolen.
Really?
All his tools in it.
Today?
Straight up today.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Van got stolen. All of his tools in it. We got 2 projects with this guy. So today, we were supposed to insulate a project. Couldn't do that. We're at the finish line on another project. Couldn't get closer to the finish line today.
And are you at time deadlines?
For sure, yeah. One,
For sure.
Yeah, always. One, we have a buyer locked in,
wow.
So
yeah, it needs
to be done sooner rather than later. There's always timelines. You always have deadlines that never get met.
That's the one that's pre-sold?
Yeah. There's always deadlines that you want to meet and that you try to set expectations for, and just so that there is that target, you know. But usually you don't hit that deadline. But yeah, I mean that one just happened today. So many, a lot with neighbors, like Chris said, but also off that too, like in Philadelphia, you're so close to these houses, like it's row homes, you know. You got 2 neighbors on each side. They see developers, I've noticed, as people that have money. But it's funny because like, sure, we may have capital for this project, but we don't see that money until the project's sold.
It's frozen sometimes.
Exactly. So they see us as people that have money, and
Not
one
liquid.
little thing, what was that?
Not liquid.
I think they think that though.
Yeah.
I think they think that we do.
Yeah.
Right.
They're rolling in dough.
Yeah, they think they were rolling.
Just
They're
swimming
like,
in it.
100%.
Just snowmans.
Exactly.
Cash.
And in reality, we're all just trying to make a buck. You know,
Yeah,
we're trying to
everyone's
sell
just
this
trying to make
property.
money.
Exactly. So in their defense,
Everybody has bills.
100%. And in their defense, shit goes wrong on construction sites all the time that shouldn't have happened. And if they see it, it's almost like a jackpot moment for them. You know, it's kind of how I see it. So I was saying this to you on the way here. I was like, if I, grew up in this area and never left, and I knew this developer that was right next door building a house and they did something wrong, and I know that I can make 20 grand, easy. Wow.
Give me that.
Yeah.
I think the other thing I'll add on is like subcontractors and dealing with them. That could be a freaking nightmare, bro. So
I remember a story about that. You want to share a little?
I mean,
light
it's
on
just
that?
it's important to make sure you and your subcontractors or your general contract, however you might do it. Some projects you end up just hiring a GC for the simplicity of it. Some you do yourself. I know you're in a position where you have to like manage some subcontractors sometimes, and so it's extremely important to ensure that you guys are absolutely on the same page for everything, because the moment something goes wrong, specify, and it's like, motherfucker.
That's not how shit happens, man. That's not how shit happens. Let's be honest. There's always shit that pops up.
Oh my god.
So that's why I can imagine that's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, you end up bumping heads, and it's like we're in the middle of the project, and emotions might be high, and
It's always a blame game too.
yeah.
When you have a lot of different subcontractors,
Personalities.
button heads, and then also it's like
This
something
guy
goes
did
wrong. No,
this.
that wasn't me. That was him. That was him. That was him. There's 7 different people. Who the fuck knows who was wrong?
Yeah, I mean, quick example, like the pilot house on the roof deck. My door on there was left open throughout like a freaking rainstorm or something in like the winter, and they like froze over, and the door was compromised. Oh, it was the painter. Oh no, it was the HVAC guy. It was the guy going out for the smoke break. And then it's like, all right, who's gonna eat this cost for that, $1,400 door? Because now that thing got to get replaced, and the labor to take it out, blah blah blah, that goes into it. And then now you got to start negotiating. It's just like,
It's a whole mess.
that's the unglamorous side that people don't see, when they hear about someone who might be doing well in real estate. And it's like, yeah, but you don't see the
Bust your ass.
stuff that you have to go through on a day-to-day basis, and the stress associated with it. It's just like,
Perhaps we talk about that day-to-day basis. On a day-to-day basis, like when you wake up on an average day, most people go to their 9 to 5, right? This isn't quite like that, is it? So what I'm saying is, what does your day look like? Whoever wants to take it first.
I mean, for me,
Because you do the agent part as well. Chris does not. So I'm interested to hear your take.
every day is so different, which I love. I could never have a job that every day is the same personally. So I love how every day is the same. But for me, the most important thing is to wake up and go to gym. So that's like the one stable thing in my day. And then after that, it kind of depends what happens, what's going on, what projects need to be visited that day, what fires need to be put out. Not actual fires, you know what I mean?
Call the fire department.
Yeah.
Alex, here you go. You are the
Alex
fire
is the
department.
fire
We
department.
put out a lot of fires, man. I'd say wholesale honestly probably has some of the most stress.
Really?
Yeah. Such different stress. For instance, right now we're trying to close this deal in West Philly, wholesale deal, pretty big fee. And the seller, so it's two sellers. One is one's in jail, and then it's his mom. So we need both signatures in order to close. So we sent a notary to the jail, to the prison.
Jail.
Sorry, prison, jail. Send a notary to the prison, and she shows up and she needs a background check. So she has to go through a whole background check, which could take a week or two. So we had to delay closing, and now we have to send the documents to the prison, and it's a PO box, but you can't be overnighted. So we have to wait now till next week. So it's just a lot of different things that you need to figure out, and it's all about having to plan A, B, and C. You know, a lot of times you get stuck in the moment of plan A is going to work, it's always going to work, and then it never works. Never works. So it's always important in wholesale and in general in life to always have 3 plans, I think.
I was just talking to my friend about, we're talking about the stock market, and we're also talking about crypto, a whole bunch of different things. And one thing I told him was like, because he was talking about this happening, that happening. I'm like, and he's like, what's your target price for this? And I told him, look, nothing ever happens like you think it is. Rarely does it. And on top of that, there are so many different factors playing out every day. There's no way to predict something exact. There is, obviously people have done it, okay, but it's super, super rare, very rare. But I think the same thing goes with any market, right? It goes with the real estate market as well. It goes with, your everyday line of work for you guys. Nothing goes out. Nothing happens like you think it's going to happen. So it's good to have scenario A, B, C, D, A. Go through the whole ABCs all the way to Z, right? You need so many different plans of actions and to be prepared, because when preparation meets opportunity, that's what they call luck. But is it really luck? No.
You make your own.
You make your own, exactly.
That's what I was trying to get at kind of in the beginning and with all this, is that like, as you get more experience, you try to minimize how many times that happens, where the unforeseen thing, kind of pops up. When you're first starting off, it's, oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that. But as you get through more and more deals, hopefully it's like, oh, I didn't think of that. And then that's, only happened once or twice throughout the life of that one project. So, no, I'm aligned with that, man. It's fucked up, but it just is what it is, bro.
It's a fucked up industry.
It's not for the weak, I'll tell you that. Like, you got to absolutely be versatile and be able to adapt and, be able to stay fluid. 2 is 1, 1 is none, which we talked about.
It's on the last podcast.
Yeah.
FitFo.
See how I tied it?
Yeah. Figure it the fuck out.
For those of you that don't know.
So, how did you guys, first of all, I want to talk about how you guys got into real estate. We'll go to Alex first, because did you start off as an agent? A lot of people that go into development start off as an agent, but then they gradually progress into developing.
For sure. A little bit, yeah. So I graduated in 2019 from college, University of Pittsburgh. I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. My dad always planted the seed in me that maybe I should get into real estate. After college, I wanted to travel a little bit, kind of explore life. And then
Where'd you go?
I was in Asia for a while.
Wow.
I was in Australia, New Zealand.
Oh, you've been all over the world.
Been all over. I love traveling.
You learn a lot, don't you?
Learn a lot, yeah.
Wow.
See a lot of people, meet a lot of people.
Where in Asia?
Thailand, Bali.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty much just those two.
Beautiful.
I was trying to go a little more north.
Yeah.
My goal was like Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Singapore, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But COVID hit. So I went south,
Thailand.
New Zealand, Australia.
Yeah.
But anyway, so.
Why are you laughing?
You're
laughing for a reason.
You don't want to know.
Yeah, why you
All
laughing?
right, maybe we cut this part out.
Yeah, why you laughing?
No, I'm just kidding. No. Go ahead, Alex.
Anyway,
Don't let Chris disrupt
Yeah.
you.
Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, so after traveling, I always wanted to live in Philly. Love Philly sports. I always loved the idea of being in Philadelphia. One of my friends at the time was looking for a roommate right when I finished traveling, so I figured I'm just gonna move to Philly, try to find the first real estate job that I could find. I did one interview. It was with New Western Acquisitions, a nationwide wholesale company, office in Northern Liberties, and I accepted that job, started studying for my real estate exam, and it was did that for a year. And then that's where I met my now business partner. And then about a year hit and we quit and started our own company. Yeah.
So where were you living in originally?
Originally,
Before
You said you
decided
moved to
city.
Philly.
yeah, so I'm from Lancaster,
Okay, Lancaster. It's
Pennsylvania.
not
So
far.
like
Yeah.
outside, people from Philly would give me slander for saying outside of Philadelphia, but outside, it is
Yeah,
outside of
it is
Philadelphia.
outside of Philly.
So that's where I'm from originally.
Okay, wow.
So a lot of family lived in Philly, so I always grew up coming
Yeah.
to Philly. A lot of my friends went to Temple, always
knew Philly well.
would visit them. Yeah.
So then after that, you got into the development side.
Yeah, so when we quit, our biggest thing was let's start a development company and just see what we can do. But on the side, we were still wholesaling. So our whole thing was we're going to be development and wholesale. So we got our first 2 flips in Fishtown about 2 months after we quit. And then at that time, we were still doing wholesale full time, just me and him.
How long after? A year after is when you started it with your partner?
Yeah, a year after.
What's the name of the company?
New Western Acquisitions.
No,
So-
that you and your partner created.
Keen Property Group.
Okay.
Yeah. Keen
Shout
Property
out.
Group.
Shout it
King
out. Shout it
Property.
out for
Shout
everybody
out
to
Keen
know.
Property Group. Yeah. Development companies, some of the best.
Find
buildings
us on all the socials, Keen Property
exactly.
Group, XYZ.
Yeah. Some of the highest quality builds in
got you, I
Philadelphia.
got you.
At Keen Property Group on Instagram.
Spokesperson.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, Chris? How did you get into real estate?
For me, it was really when I was in California. My partner and I, just were like, let's try it and see what happens, I guess. And we went for it, and it went great. And that was kind of, the start of it. I know it's a little like vague, but
Start somewhere.
yeah, I mean, we bought the house for like, I don't know, a little under $1 million, 980. We put like a little under 300 into it and sold for like 1.6. So then we got a little taste of what that was like, and we're like, we should probably do this again. Right?
Oh, this pays
how it
pretty
goes.
well.
Yeah.
I kind of liked this.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was kind of the start, I would say.
That's awesome. And then after that deal, what was the mindset? It was like, oh, I want to do this and do it big time. Like, what was that mindset with you and your partner then?
Yeah, something like that.
Did you go really aggressive afterwards, or did you take it slow still?
No, we kept the gas on the pedal, but I ended up trying something else. If you remember at the last podcast, we talked about large scale like syndication and multifamilies, and so I tried a couple different approaches as well. That was like the 328 unit deal, $33 million purchase price. Yeah, and so I honestly, like if you put rack and stack those, I love the experience of developing for the same reasons that Sherman said already. It was like just the process, just everything that goes into it. There's some, I don't know, excitement and adrenaline to it, in my opinion.
Negotiating.
Yeah,
We were
right.
talking about that the other day.
Yeah. So once I kind of had my taste of the different ways you can, I guess, navigate with the real estate market, that's when I wanted to focus more on doing like more developments and stuff. And then at the same time, we were still doing developments in Newport. So like my other partner was actively doing developments in Newport at the time as well. And so, I was getting exposed to multiple markets at the same time. Again, so much goes into it, man. Yeah, I think that's a simple way of putting it.
What was your biggest takeaway when it came to learning, and like the biggest lesson you've had in this real estate market, whether it's development, being an agent, or wholesale? What would you guys say is your biggest lesson?
I'd say surround yourself with the right people, hire the right contractors, which is easier said than done. Analyze deals 55 times before you buy it. Whatever a deal looks like a slam dunk, dive deeper into it because there's probably a caveat to it that you're not seeing. It's probably my biggest takeaway.
When it comes to getting these contractors like you talked about, right? You said it's harder said than done. So how can you explain that to someone, like the process of that?
Yeah.
What's your biggest advice for someone in your same shoes, or someone that's trying to get into it?
I'd say follow word of mouth. If there's someone that you trust that has used a good contractor, maybe they're a little more expensive than someone that you got a quote for that's a little cheaper, go with that person that's a little more expensive. Vet these contractors as much as you can. Go see all their projects that they're doing. Sit down with them, get some coffee, and just ask them every question in the book. And yeah, it's just kind of a long vetting process, I'd say. And trust. Follow word of mouth.
What's your biggest takeaway and lesson? Chris?
I'm aligned with you, bro. No, not that. Honestly, I think it's a good time for me to pull out this note. Lessons,
story.
Right? Huh? The story? No, not a story. Just it was about lessons, right? Like,
yes. Pull it out.
And pretty much it's you kind of said it. Read it.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
Yeah.
He actually alluded to it. I could dive a little more into it, but it's he mentioned, all right, if you have a couple contractors, one might be a little more expensive than the other, but you have maybe a little more, intuition that he's the right fit. Always pay that extra, man. So I think in the beginning, a lot of people starting off try to save as much as they possibly can.
End up spending more.
Yeah, and exactly, end up spending more. I think that's one of my biggest takeaways in all this over the few years that we've been doing this is like pay that extra up front because it's just going to save you so much more time in the long run. Whether it's with like a contractor or an engineer or an architect, whatever problem it might be, money seems to solve a lot of problems. And so the faster you can get past it, time is money. So the more you end up saving in the long run. Yeah. So, I mean, I have so many different, instances where that lesson would be applicable. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I, take away, I guess, as a lesson.
So also, real quick, we have interest rates moving, right? So I want to hear your first reaction and then your reaction. Or you know what, Chris, we'll go with your reaction first. Because I've been going to Alex a lot first. We'll change it up, go with Chris, and then we'll go Alex.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
Oh, I'm dead right now.
If you don't want to go, we can go with Alex. Hand the baton off.
I don't mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, interest rates are definitely lower right now. A lot of refinancing going on. I just got coffee with one of my lender buddies today. He was saying he was making 147 calls this week to people that he thinks that should refinance right now, and that it makes sense. When interest rates are lower, there's obviously more buyers in the market. It's a good thing. I just got property under contract today that maybe not have gone under contract 2 weeks ago.
Like selling or buying?
Selling. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but when I will say too, when interest rates are higher, there's obviously not as much competition, but it is easier on my end for being a developer negotiating deals because there's not as many people, looking at it.
As an agent, how does it affect you?
Depends on like the buying or selling side, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't do too much with being an agent, I will say, but just from my experience with it, which is more so on the selling side, when interest rates are lower, it's easier to sell a property for sure. Yeah.
I'm just wondering. So when it's higher, it's better. Because I had a big real estate developer in here not too long ago. We talked about it. And he was actually on the Locked In podcast with Joe Pfeiffer and Sam Morapisa that's hosted here. But we talked to him and we talked about when is it best to get a loan, a mortgage, and when is it best to buy cash. He talked about when, at the time, interest rates are higher. He's like, well, now is a better time to buy cash, wait for interest rates to come down, and then. Do you guys agree with that approach?
He said to buy with cash when interest rates are high. Honestly, I'm a huge fan of debt. I know it's controversial. I think we talked about this, right? Like you don't like debt much. I'm all about debt and leveraging debt. So I think it's just like a personal preference. What do you like debt?
I mean, yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely like debt, but I would also say like if you have an immense amount of cash, it always makes more sense to buy in cash so that you're not paying the interest.
Yeah.
You
If
know?
you have like a lot of cash,
Yeah.
I'm saying like maybe like you got, you know, 20, 30 million dollars or something that you could just like, oh, let me go buy this $1 million house or whatever. Yeah, no problem. But I think until then, for me, it's like I want my cash to work for me, and I don't want to tie it up in this one thing for however long. You know what I mean? I'd rather have it get me a, you know, bigger return personally. That's just
When it comes to real estate investing, right, and where you find the most profit, what areas are there certain areas you specifically look for? Like I know you talked about how you're focused in on Newport, right, specifically. Alex, here in the city, are you looking at West Philly like you've talked about before? Are you looking at Fishtown, which just obviously blew up recently? Or are you looking at Northern Liberties? Are you looking at foreclosures? Is that the type of, you know, route that you're looking at?
For sure. We try to stick, it depends if you're flipping or doing a buy and hold. Obviously for flips, we try to stick in the B plus areas, Graduate Hospital, Fishtown, Fairmount, Rittenhouse, anything that's higher than a B plus. We've done flips in the past that aren't in the best areas that we saw as up and coming, that we kind of got screwed on. So for flips, we definitely prefer to stay in those B plus areas because if the market goes to shit, usually those buyers in that pocket aren't going to be affected as much as someone in West Philly or, you know, buying a $300,000 house compared to a $900,000 house. But for buy and holds, I mean, I like to just stick in, you know, like I said, we have a property a block away from here. It's really all about the zip code as well, like for affordable housing, which is one of our biggest models for buy and hold. It's all about the zip code. So there's certain zip codes that have higher rent than others, obviously. So try to stick in those higher end areas.
Where's the biggest opportunity that you see in the city right now of Philadelphia?
I mean, I love the luxury single family flips. I think that's one of the biggest opportunities. I'm not too well versed in the bigger multifamily stuff. Like the biggest one we're doing is 11 units, so I can't speak on that. But for single families, the luxury is the way to go, in my opinion. Because with what I said about interest rates, and if those go up, a buyer who is buying a $1 million house is not as affected. If they need to move, they're going to move.
How about you? Why are you so honed in and focused in on Newport?
literally for that
That's what I
reason right
expected,
there.
but-
Yeah, bro. Honestly, it's just like more. It could withstand the turbulence that the rest of the economy might be feeling. You know, a little more recession-proof. It's a really affluent area. You know, anyone in Newport or knows about Newport knows that it's a higher-end luxury type of market, and so that buyer pool is somewhat exclusive to the fact that they can afford the higher end type of stuff. And so that's who I'd like to target, similar to what Alex is saying now. You know, here in the city, there's certain pockets that tailor to that type of buyer that you might find in like Newport or something.
I will say off that too, there's so many different models that you can do. Like I have one of my friends and clients, he strictly sticks in the C to B areas, or sorry, B to C areas, and he does very well. His model is he wants to make 30 to 40K on each flip, and maybe he's doing 4 or 5 of those a year. For me, I'd rather do the bigger ones, and maybe I'm doing 2 to 3 a year, but it's 100K plus profit.
Interesting. Different approaches for different
For sure.
people.
And that's like what you said
The beauty
earlier.
of real estate.
Beauty of
Yeah.
real estate. So many different models you can do.
Yeah.
Also, I have another question. For the average American, right? If they work their 9 to 5, they're trying to hustle, they're trying to make some extra money, right? What's your best advice to them when they're going to either purchase a home or try to get into the hustling aspect in terms of investing and making money, right? Because I have plenty of friends that are working their 9 to 5s and they talk about investing in real estate, but they're just not sure what way to go. And then I also have now, since I'm 26, people that are looking to buy their first homes. What advice do you give them?
For the first question of the best way to get into real estate, I would say invest with someone first that already has the systems down, already has the people, contractors, and the team around them, and just ask them questions all the time when you're in the project. Go stop by the project, understand the headaches that goes into it, or wholesale. Minimal risk, don't need that much money. Go find a wholesale company. There's 30 of them plus in Philadelphia. Learn the in and outs. Like when I first got into real estate, I knew absolutely nothing about real estate. And wholesale is like real estate 101. I learned more in a year than I probably learned in my 4 years of college.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Experience gives you everything you need.
100%.
The keys.
100%.
Keys to life. How about the second part of the question?
Sorry, the second part.
First-time home buyers.
First-time home buyers. For the average American, because I know, for example, I believe it was the 70s, 80s, right? A person's salary or 2 years worth of salary was enough to buy their first home, right? They're able to work 2 years. Now it went up like 7 times.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. You've seen that?
I know, but I can imagine that's
it's gone
true.
up 7 times. So now, for the average price of a house compared to the average price then, it's 7 times basically harder, essentially, for the youth. And the youth, obviously, we have the highest credit card debt, and ever. The debt for the U.S. has just hit 38 trillion, and on top of that, it feels like Americans have to deal with inflation. They have to deal with so many different things that they're struggling. With that being said, trying to buy the first house, how to be smart, and what's the best avenue for them to go?
In my opinion, I think the best way for someone who just flat out can't afford, their ideal home would be just to get some sort of like multifamily, whether it's like a duplex or a triplex. I think that barrier to entry there is significantly more beneficial than if you were to try to scrounge up everything, in a year or whatever to try to buy a single family home and then put in everything towards your mortgage, and you can't really have that balance of life and the other things that you want to, experience. When you do that, you're able to, house hack or whatever the heck you want to call it, you're kind of income producing from the second unit and or third unit, maybe even fourth unit, because you can go up to 4, and that offsets your costs. And that's a great way to just get your foot in the door with real estate for a couple years, refinance out of it, rent the unit that you live in, and then go and buy that house that you wanted, initially. I think that would be the best way, in my opinion, if you...
I agree 100%. The only thing I realized is it is hard. So it's the most beneficial avenue, but also the hardest, I think, barrier to entry, because I feel like those get swooped in on very quickly and they don't last too long in the market usually. But you can speak on that as a real estate agent, can you?
Yeah,
I mean, they're out there.
Yeah, I agree. They're definitely out there. I mean, there's a lot of options. Like off what you said, I mean, I think buying a single family house for your first purchase, I think it was Grant Cardone that said it. It's a commodity. It's not a good investment.
300%.
If you house hack, I think that's a great entry into understand the game a little bit, and like you said, just paying down your mortgage a little bit. But yeah, the deals are out there for sure. I mean, in Philly, there's tons of duplexes, 2 units.
Hit them up.
Put them on the market.
Put it out.
You're trying to buy a
I
house.
don't want to be a realtor. I don't want to be a realtor. I don't want that.
He's trying to go and get away from it.
Try to be away from that.
No worries.
Relax, chill.
Chill on that one.
Chill on that real quick.
My bad.
If you buy the house though, keep property group.
You're no longer my spokesperson. You're fired.
Yeah, fuck off, bro.
My bad.
Not good. But I remember what I was saying.
We're just talking about single family homes, buying them, and how
Yeah.
essentially when you buy a home, it's not as much of an asset as you think it is.
Yeah, like the first house I bought was a 2-family, bro. Yeah. Like first house I bought back in 2014 or something like that. Things 2-family, live in one, rent the other one out. The thing's doing great. Appreciation alone, just like. The thing about real estate is, they say what? Don't wait to buy real estate and wait. You heard that? Mm-hmm. Like, just live by that. I don't know. Get out there and buy some real estate and wait.
I think also off your question too, it's very important to not over leverage yourself. So buy a house when you have enough money for a down payment plus another maybe 30, 40 grand for when shit goes bad. Off of what you said, my first house was my single family house that I still own, that I still live in to this day. I've put way too much money into this house.
And you keep on putting money.
Always.
That's why it's not as much of an asset as you think. It's actually a liability in many aspects. Whereas, obviously an investment property that you're not living in. Any property, most of the time, not always, that you're living in, unless it's a triplex, unless it's you're going to be paying more than you're receiving. But with that being said, what do you see for the future of the real estate market in Philly? And then also we'll talk about your Newport, the future for Newport, but just in general, the real estate market for the United States of America.
I think it's going to continue to evolve. I think technology is really going to have a big effect on real estate in general and getting deals and analyzing deals. So I'll be curious how that affects it. But I think also on the development side, it'll affect property management. I think will be a lot easier once AI evolves more. But acquiring deals, I think, is going to be a lot different. Real estate agents, I could see that kind of decreasing a little more as technology goes up. I think Zillow just came out with
AI.
What was that?
AI.
They came out with an AI tag on ChatGPT or something, and it's basically like you can comp properties with this AI. So why would you need to pay a realtor to do that? Personally, I think the human side, it goes a long way in this business. Yeah, for sure. But I'll be curious how that affects it. But I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know how it affects I don't know how the future will be, but I think technology is going to play a big part in that.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. I think a lot of people have been super scared of the real estate market. I think there's a lot of scared money out there right now. There's not so much activity, at least in Newport. That's why, we're talking about markets and markets being important. Newport specifically, even though I said, it's super affluent and whatnot, it still has an element of ebb and flow where it's not just gonna be red hot 24/7. So right now in Newport specifically, we are experiencing a slight soften in the market where something might sit for a little bit longer than it was, which is weird, and it's not something I expected. With interest rates going down, I thought the opposite was going to happen, where it was going to increase and make it more active. So that has me a little bit confused, if I'm being honest. And we have a property out there that we're trying to sell right now actively that's been sitting for a few weeks now.
Question real quick. So how hot was it before this softening? Was it very hot?
Yeah, super hot, bro.
I wonder if that has to do, because M2 supply, right, which is a global money supply, it is hitting like all-time highs, right? And usually when that happens, people just start spending money, right? Buy a new house, buy a new car, But then eventually it gets to a tipping point and a boiling point where then it starts to come down. Are we at that moment? Because that's an affluent area, correct?
Yeah, 100%.
People with a lot of money, well, they're spending money left and right. Now we're at that boiling point.
I mean, I think we're due for a crash.
Yeah.
It could happen any day.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, it's kind of like what you said. It's what happens.
See, I don't know if I believe that a crash will ever happen. Like, when we say crash, what are we talking? Are we talking like a nosedive, or are we talking like a 15-degree angle?
Bump in the road.
Like, what do we?
I could see like a 2008 type thing happening soon enough. But also, I do think with the future of real estate, I could see a lot more people getting into affordable housing and sustainability, especially in bigger cities, Philadelphia, for one, Chicago, New York City.
Like the Section 8 stuff?
Affordable housing.
Yeah.
I mean, people always need houses. That's supplied, that's, paid by the government, most of the rent. That's one of my models. And if a dip like that happened,
I'm pretty sure
still good.
Q1 historically is when things, like if you look at all of the these boiling points.
Yeah, the data.
Data suggests that Q1 is when it kind of happens. But aside from that, one thing I wanted to note was I know someone, a big real estate developer, and some others that are looking now at senior housing for the baby boomers, right? And they're big into that right now. They're investing a lot of money into that senior housing. Do you believe that's a big opportunity ahead?
I was literally just telling my business partner this the other day.
Yeah.
I think I saw something on Instagram maybe, but yeah, baby boomers, one of the biggest generation. Like most people, obviously, a lot of kids.
They had a lot of kids.
They're gonna need housing. Yeah, I totally think senior housing is a great market to be in.
There's certain cities that have like housing initiatives that are becoming a little more flexible with their zoning laws and whatever, you know, requirements you might have to either build or renovate. So maybe that's has something to do with it. I know in Providence specifically, I was talking to my friend about this the other day, is like they're getting a lot more lenient. So something, you know, a non-conforming lot for, you know, some building that you wanted to develop would get the approvals it needs because they're being a little more lenient with the requirement, and they have a housing initiative to make more housing available for whether it's senior living and or just people in general who need housing, because there is a shortage, right? I think that it's been a shortage for a while now. So
something I also believe in is wellness-centric buildings. I think is going to be a very important market to be in the future. Yeah, I mean, do you go to the gym?
Yeah.
Do you go to the gym?
Well, I have my gym at home,
So imagine if you lived in a building that had a gym, had, you know, neutral, warm colors throughout, a cafe. It's ideal. Everyone, you know, people want to feel good about
adds
themselves.
value to the building and adds value to the tenants.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a very big market in the future.
I feel like it's already happening in the city here, Philly.
Yeah, it's starting to. There's one building called Lotus Development. I think it's by you in Old City.
yeah, I do. I see. Yeah.
What
do they have that's different?
It's they have like a wellness room. They have cold plunge, sauna, hot tub.
So you're saying that's just part of the residence?
Part of the residence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
So yeah, exactly. So it's not like you can't be an outsider. Actually, I take that back. You might be able to not live in the building and come, but they have yoga classes. They have run clubs. Like they have edible plants on the roof that people can like have little
Go pick your
like,
basil.
community gardens. Yeah. Stuff like that. I think is really cool. It's something that I want to get into in the future.
Wow,
that's
interesting.
Yeah.
If you're looking for the best book of 2025, look no further. Booked, written by me and my father. It's taken over the airwaves, everything you could think of. Amazon #1 bestseller, Organized Crime. Debuted #1 on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or phillybook.com. Amazing life story. Some of the biggest people and biggest names you know have this book right here, from Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers to my good friends right here, Chris Spiridon and Alex Sherman. Go get this book today, guys, about my father's life story. Oh, bravo, bravo. All right, let's get back to the real estate talk. Now, we talked about what do you see for the future. We talked about past stories and horror stories. Are there any horror stories anymore that you guys have real quick before we go?
I'm sure we got plenty, but
So many.
I don't know if we want to bore you with them.
Boring me.
I got a pretty crazy.
That's what we're here for.
I got a pretty crazy wholesale one.
Tell me about it.
I was going to this property in Chester. It's supposed to be a vacant. It's supposed to be a vacant. Supposed to be a vacant property in Chester. Now I know that it's one of the worst blocks in Chester. At this time, I'm just like, there's a deal. I'm gonna go check it out.
You're like, I'm from Lancaster.
Yeah, man. I'm from the Amish country. I don't know where I'm going. So yeah,
He went on his horse.
Straight
I'm
up.
just messing around.
Yeah, fuck off. No, but pull up in my car, and so I pull up to this house, and right when I walk up, there's this giant dog starts barking at me, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, it's like a gray pit bull, massive pit bull.
Yeah.
My brother has a pit bull, a very cute pit bull.
Yeah, cute one.
Kind one too.
Yeah.
This was not a kind one. This is a very mean pit bull. Barking at me, going crazy, and I'm like, okay, this probably is not vacant. kind of start peeking in a little more, realize that I probably need to get the fuck off this block.
Yeah.
So I start kind of walking away. All of a sudden, 7 dudes from the neighbor's house start walking out, like pulling up their shirt like this, showing me their gun, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, what is about to go down? And
This white boy from Lancaster got
yeah,
something
bro. They're like, they come out, they're like, what the fuck are you doing here, bro? And I'm like, man, I'm just a realtor. I'm here
They said
checking out
bro?
this house. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they
bro.
did.
Actually, I think they said white boy. They're like, what you doing here, white boy? And I'm like, man, I'm just a realtor. The seller told me to come here and check it out. And they're like, oh yeah, who's the seller? I'm like, I think his name is Mohammed. So I was like, Mohammed, he sent me. Meanwhile, I had zero contact with Mohammed. It was my partner who did. So I didn't even have Mohammed's number.
Yeah.
So they're saying to me, they're like,
Call
him right now. Call him right now. I'm like, shit, man. All right. So I call my business partner, doesn't pick up. And I'm like, yo, he didn't pick up. So they're like, you telling me if Mohammed calls me right now, or if I call Mohammed right now, he's going to say that you said that he sent you. I'm like, promise you, swear, yes. Say Pete. He's like, say Pete, my business partner. They call him, doesn't pick up the first time, and I'm like, fuck, man, I'm shot. Calls back. I hear the ring going off, and I'm like, all right, we're good. He's calling, and they're like, yo, Mohammed, there's supposed to be a guy here, and they're like, yeah, he's good. I'm like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Say no more. I was already on my way out. Yeah, that shit was terrifying. I thought I was gonna die.
The dangers of being a real estate agent, though, right?
Huh?
I said the dangers of being a real estate agent.
100%, yeah. Wholesaler too.
Wholesaler too,
Yeah,
exactly.
scary, man. Scary stuff. Yeah.
You never know where you're gonna find.
That's
Or
a
never
good
know what
horror
you're gonna
story
encounter.
right there.
You don't know the areas you're going sometimes.
Yep.
Life's crazy like that.
Yeah.
Any last things you guys want to add?
Many more stories. There's like a couple that I want to say that maybe next year I can say, but right now it's a little too
Fresh.
Part two.
Part 3 for Chris, part 2 for you.
Yeah,
part
they're
2 coming soon.
ongoing.
Part 2 coming soon. Ongoing investigations that we can talk about later.
Part 2 coming soon. Where can we find you guys on social media? Can we find you guys at a certain location, certain website?
You can find me on Instagram, @Sherman_ or Keen Property Group on Instagram. That's all I got.
Yeah,
Chris?
you just tag it in the thing, and
I'll tag it in the thing.
Yeah,
I
you
always
take care
do.
of it.
You know that. I got you covered.
Thank you, Habibi.
Thank you,
Thank
guys,
you.
for coming.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. It was a great time, great conversation. Can't wait for the next time.
Well done,
Yeah.
well done.
Welcome to the Maltepes Show. Thank you very much.
My boy.
We're wrapped up.